Hello, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk Football, episode number 2, top 4 race. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Edward Fordham. Ed, how are you doing?
Yeah, all good. Freezing cold, hence the polo neck. But apart from that, not bad.
That's great. That's great. It's nice to see some coldness in Hong Kong. There's barely any cold in Hong Kong ever since.
Yeah, well, we don't get much cold, do we? But apparently it was snowing in Hong Kong today. Did you know that?
Wow, I didn't know that.
I don't know if that's the first time ever. But for those who don't admit to the climate change, you can come round to my place and you'll see the difference.
Awesome. And so I'm thinking that you have watched most of the games on Sunday.
This is the plus side of it being cold, Javid. We can stay home and watch all the football.
Exactly. I think it's a wonderful day to watch football, and there was some cracking games on the weekend, and
Especially Saturday.
Yeah, especially Saturday, and there are some shockers as well.
There was everything. There was goals, and just to let all the people know that me and you always do predictions, and we got most of those wrong.
Yeah,
because it was shock city, right?
Yeah, it was unpredictable predictions actually. So yeah, we got most of the things wrong.
Yeah. Did you hear that? I put a little pun in there, shock city, just for the City game. My humor's wasted on you, Joe.
Oh my goodness, I'm not very good with those. So, okay, let's get started with the first question. As you know, we're Arsenal fans, so let's start with the Arsenal game. Arsenal versus Brentford. Arsenal looking sharp, Arsenal looking good. What are your thoughts about the game?
Brentford have lost that one striker, haven't they? So they weren't so much as of a threat. But yeah, Tomiyasu out. That didn't seem to be a big problem for us. The forwards were great. Xhaka and Partey in midfield looked solid. We had control of the game, as you'd expect us to. If we're going to be a top 4 side, we have to win those games, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we had 2 goals allowed as well, or 2 pen shouts. Not 2 goals, but 2.
We're going to come around to that part because we saw a similar situation given in the City and Spurs game. Why?
Handball.
Yeah. So why did it not given to to us? They went back to.
That's what we were saying in a previous video about the VAR, right? That's exactly what I said. Let's not make it complicated. Let's say in those situations it has to be intentional. There was no intent, was there, in either of those penalties?
No, there wasn't. But talking back on the game, did you see a different type of Arsenal? The intensity, the way they moved the ball, the way they shifted the ball. Did you see a different type of intensity from Arsenal than the previous years?
You know what I was thinking before we came and did this today? I'm sick of people talking in cliches, jumping on bandwagons, thinking that what did Glenn Hoddle say? One swallow doesn't make a summer, right?
Yeah.
Of course, this was an easier game because it was Brentford, and Brentford are going through. They think they should have done better in their last 2 games, but better result. But they're not setting the world alight, are they, at the moment? So I think it has to be in a context. But that's a typical negative Arsenal fan response. But the positive is, it felt good, didn't it, watching Arsenal again?
Absolutely. I mean, I remember watching back in the days. You expect most of the games that Arsenal play, you expect them to be, although maybe the results won't be like 3-0, 4-0 or something like that, but you expect Arsenal to dominate that midfield, have some swagger about them going forward, you want to see some skills, that little piece of skills from Odegaard, just, pretending to kick the ball, leaving it to Cedric and playing that 1-2 with him. As fans, we want to see those things. But I thought,
sorry to cut you off. I don't know, you've started to notice this. In the old days, you had very few assists and you had just mistakes leading to a goal, or the guy did something brilliant. And still the poor sides, or I don't have to say poor, but the sides that are not going to be at the very top, at the top four, they don't get assist goals. But if you look at the goals that Arsenal starting to score again, like we used to before, like Liverpool do and City do, they're all coming from assists. They're all a sequence of play, which is, I think, what you're alluding to, is that we're actually playing football again. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about the other time in the last episode about United not having those combination play. They don't look like a team. It's like broken down in pieces with defense, midfield, and attack. With Arsenal, the gelling of players, and we are both more attacking minded coaches as well. And when we see those kind of things, it excites us. But also as just fans, it excites us to see how well everything is gelling together. I mean, when we teach the kids, we teach them, okay, when there's a transition, the midfield and the defense have to coordinate, and then the attack and the midfield have to coordinate. And when you see that on the pitch, as coaches, you're just so excited, so happy for them.
Yeah, because that's why the English game is the number one game in the world, right? Because there's chances created, there's football, and yourself, even you might be good, you're not going to play at that level, because that is a phenomenal level. And you know what? On top of that, what people don't realize is the wind is even worse than the rain in England. The wind is so difficult to cope with. To play that kind of beautiful football, it's not easy. It really isn't easy. And I think there's a lot of teams playing good football in the Premier League now. And I'm really thankful that we're one of them again, because we haven't been for a long time, right?
Absolutely. I have to agree with that. Many times, under Emery, we started to think, what is our style of play? Are we building up from the back? Are we doing, counter-attacking? Are we having faster transitions? Are we using the wings to attack? Are we going through the middle? Sometimes it's just a question mark under Emery. With Arteta, we had that questions for maybe for a year, thinking that what does he's trying to do, because he changed the system quite a lot. During the FA Cup, when he plays against different teams, he started changing his systems. But slowly this year, let's say around December time last year, we started to see a pattern of play.
Well, I was the biggest critic of him trying to play out the back initially, because not that I thought that we shouldn't play that way, because that's how I play, right? But all my teams play that way. But the problem is you have to have the players to do it. So I didn't really get it. I thought we were lucky to win the FA Cup, and I thought Frank Lampard messed that one up. I thought there definitely was a change, but then it didn't seem to be a good balance. We were playing out the back, but we were still really soft, and there was too much room between the front and the back, and that didn't work for us. When he started to get more compact, played a bit quicker out the back rather than slowly out the back. And then we had a bit more bite. If you remember, the FA Cup turned on, I don't know if you remember this, but they had water breaks for the first time I've ever seen it in the FA Cup, in the FA Cup final. And we were getting slaughtered in that first 10, 15 minutes, if you remember.
Yeah.
And then it went to a water break and we totally changed. So we played still out the back, but we played really quicker in the midfield. We didn't try to hold possession. We went quickly to the front three.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And that's where most of the goals came from in that FA Cup. But we can see a big change in that Arsenal side, him bringing in his own type of players like Gabriel, White,
There's a
Tomiyasu.
belief. There's a belief. You
Mm,
can see it. And then, especially, this was going to be one of my points today. If you look at all of the teams that are doing well and have got a future, they're using younger players. They're trusting younger players. And
mhm.
these younger players are not letting them down. They're doing fantastic. So when you look at, you've got Odegaard, I don't know what age he is, if he's older than
22.
Smith Rowe.
22.
Right, there you go. So, and they're similar players, aren't they? But he played them together at this time. Um, like all the young boys that are coming from, I'm so excited again because I think it's like Man United a bit where some of them need to go. There's some not going to fit. But yeah, I think in a lot of the teams now, I think if we think about not just this season, but what's going to happen in the future, we need to look at the youth.
Absolutely. I think the average age of players are decreasing to a younger, more younger and younger every year. I mean, it's all over the Premier League. It's people are starting to give more chances to the younger players as their prospect, as their value goes more higher, as older players, more experienced players are becoming more expensive over the
Yeah,
years.
exactly.
You're talking
Yeah.
about 80 million, 90 million for a transfer. That is just ridiculous amount of money. And then whereas teams like Arsenal, they're trying to look at the younger players. Are they going to fit their system? Can they change their mentality? Because I think younger players actually gives your club a better future, especially for a coach.
Financially, and you can work if you work with players, they get molded into your system.
Exactly.
Then wait, not over a period of time. This is one of the things I was going to say today as well. Before I forget, is okay. Spurs maybe have the right guy, but do they have the right players in Conte? Right, but he's not going to stay for more than 2 years, 3 years. So then what?
Yeah, but it's exactly coming to your point on that. United are the same. I mean, Ralph Rangnick is the guru of both, Jurgen Klopp, Hasenholt, all of these guys who play in high press attacking style of football.
Exactly.
And he's the guru of the guy. But if we see Manchester United play, the players are just not molding into his philosophy, isn't it?
Man United's topic on its own, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And we'll come to that. We'll come to that deeper later.
Let me just tell you this, which is, I don't know, everyone's realized this, but that guy, since he's started his tenure, has got 25 points out of 36. I think this was his 12th game at the weekend. He's got 25 points. That's more than Liverpool got in the same period.
Wow.
That's huge. So he might not be winning, but then this is something that's very important in any conversation. It is literally, like you were saying there, it's about performances, but performances are not results. Results is the number one thing. And that guy might not be winning in a nice way, but he's winning. Well, he's not winning everything, but he hasn't lost, has he? Has he lost once or?
He lost once, I think he did.
Did he?
Yeah.
I don't even know if he's lost.
And,
I think he lost once as well.
Yeah, he lost once and then he drew 2.
He's drawn too many. He's drawn more than 2, I think. But I mean, in that sense, he's doing brilliant. In the performance sense, for me, not, right? You have to pass. Okay, the points test is one thing, but you have to see with your own eyes, is that a product, a new product? It's Man United, right? We've got to be seeing a product. I can't still see it, to be honest.
The thing is that for me, when I look at Man United, yes, they're winning games, but for me, maybe not so much of coaching, but it's more of those players. They have that special player.
That's the thing. 100%.
Maybe if we talk about the record of him, winning games and stuff, I think Ollie did the same. They'll go on a bad run for a game or two, and then they'll go on a winning run, and then they'll go back to that same old story of, drawing and losing games, and then go back on the winning run again.
Yeah, but remember, he's not been in there for long, right? So we can't really, it's not going to happen really quickly. But what we can say is, I think United fans like how clear he is. So remember, taking Ronaldo off could have been a potential serious problem for him. And he dealt with it. He dealt with it firmly. He's dealt with this weekend, he takes Pogba off.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, that's so bizarre. Pogba was playing really well. That's the first time I've seen Pogba play well for a bit. He takes him off, he brings Fred on, and then Fred wins the game for them. But he put on Langer as well. And those two boys, you have to put that down to his, if it's not his genius, at least his bravery, right, to take Pogba off. Who did he take off for Langer? Is it what's his
Jesse
name?
Lingard.
Oh, he took Lingard off, did he? Oh, did he not bring him on?
No. He took off. He took Jesse Lingard off for Elanga.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they're big moves, right? So, yeah, I mean, you can't do much more in 12 weeks than start to show the dressing room what's acceptable, what isn't acceptable, get everyone around. The Maguire thing as well. That had to come up because Maguire was having an awful run.
Yeah.
But he dealt with that as well. He said very clearly, he's the captain, nothing's going to change, get on with it, right?
Yeah.
And, it's little things like that, I think, where, okay, that guy is in charge, the players will accept that and get on with it. And then that kind of feeling will help you. You got to be worried about them finishing as the top four place now.
I'm always going to be worried about them finishing top four because I think they have the squad to finish top four, whereas we are a bit inexperienced with a lot of young. We have one of the youngest squads.
Right?
So I am worried about them finishing top four, but at the same time, I also kind of know that they are not going to be very consistent in their runs.
United.
Yeah, United are not going to be consistent in their games.
And they've got the nastiest of the 6 games coming up.
Yeah, they have the March is terrible for them. They're going to be against City, United,
Liverpool, Liverpool, Tottenham, Liverpool, Man City.
Yeah,
us. Sorry, not us. I think, is it?
Yeah,
is it us?
Yeah, they still have to play us.
You're right. You're right.
So they have a very, very difficult March that is coming up for them.
They definitely do, right? They definitely do. Will he still be there after those 6 games? He will, but will we be convinced about the project after that? I don't know. They're still like they're the curveball, aren't they?
Yeah, there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk that he's not going to be here after the interim period because they're looking at Pochettino now to bring in for Manchester United manager.
Apparently not now. Apparently there's new people coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah, they said Ten Hag and all of those guys, but United are more interested in Pochettino. That's what the news was today.
But what do you want? Do you want a professor or do you want a personality?
I would say
he would go for Ten Hag. Of course he would, because that's that same mold. The Dutch and the Germans, they're pragmatic, they're organized, they're tactical. But Premiership, you need a bit more. You need some personality, don't you?
You do. And I think for United, the reason why they're going to Pochettino is also because of the marketing side of things. I don't think so with Ten Hag. They're looking at social media followers. They're looking at, the branding themselves, because right now, Manchester United, let's be honest, is more of a brand than a football club.
Yeah, but I think at this point, the project is to, and you're going to sell more when you're successful. So I think the project is getting the right man and then that man being there for a period of time, right? I
Do you
mean,
think?
we love Poch. We love Poch. We love Poch, and Poch is definitely going to sell some shirts. But no, I think his brand of football is an attacking style. That's the Man United way of playing, isn't it?
I think so, but don't you think so? Ten Hag is a better manager than Poch is, because I think, for me, I think Poch's sell by date is gone. They should have
Well,
gotten him after he got sacked from Spurs, if they're actually gonna do it.
yeah, and it was kind of primed for him at that time, wasn't it? But
Mhm.
it's just like the point I just made. It's like, don't keep jumping on the bandwagon. Let's really analyze these things, people, right?
Mhm.
How good is Poch actually? And then Ten Hag, yeah, he might be good, but where's he managed in the Premiership?
Mhm.
These are more important factors. You can be brilliant. A player is brilliant, like I'm sure we'll get onto Lukaku. A player is brilliant in how many different clubs scoring goals, and now he can't score at Chelsea. It,
Yeah.
things are really small, and the good managers are sometimes lucky, and sometimes that's why they're paid millions, is because they can just see one or two, three or four things that we can't see
Mhm.
as grassroots coaches, Joe,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Because what I'm looking at, because Poch can come in and he can do a good style of football. Yes, but don't you think Man United need a complete rebuild? Because for me, I don't think so. They have the right mentality of players in that club.
They've been up so many times and been clawed back, even by Leeds at the weekend. You don't give up 2 goals like that if you've got now a settled team,
Mhm.
right? I think I said I thought he was brilliant, but he had his 60 minutes, didn't he?
Mhm.
And then what did he do? Hey, we're so good, we're 2-0 up. And then he starts, maybe, that's why he was taken off, wasn't it? Because you don't know with him.
Absolutely.
100%, I think it's a mentality. I think the kind of good things that are happening now, he's got a bit lucky about, because the fact that Greenwood can't play, the
Mhm.
fact that Martial's gone out,
Mhm.
it's almost helped his team in a way, because there's no pressure on those lads that are getting picked now. There's not such an amount of players they have to worry about getting in before them.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, yeah. And
Um,
I think one is that also, from the manager point of view, he doesn't have to worry about those guys who haven't played for a long time. They have
yeah,
a lot thinner squad right now. Without Donny Van de Beek, without
another one that's gone, right?
yeah.
He hasn't got rid of all the ones he wants to get rid of, but that was another issue where I thought he did really well. He was clear. He said, when asked about if players will leave, he said, probably. And then, do I care? Not really, because they'd be the ones that I want to go. So, in that respect, again, I think he's on the right path, but I think you're right. I think there's still a mentality problem at United. I
Mm.
really do.
And do you think it would be better for someone like Ten Hag, who brings in the younger players, who plays attacking football, but who can also nurture them and rebuild the club? And also, probably Ten Hag has a better relationship with Ralph Rangnick, because Ralph Rangnick is going to move up to the
Yeah,
advisor
maybe.
positions, right?
Yeah, maybe.
So, do you think, will Poch work better or Ten Hag? What would be your choice?
I like Poch.
Mm,
I'd give Poch a go for so many reasons. Of course, Ten Hag has done brilliant wherever he's been.
mm,
And I'm a big Dutch aficionado, so
mm,
I've always waited for him to get one of the big jobs in England. It's never come for one reason or another.
mm.
Um, Maybe Van Gaal stopped those Dutch ships rolling in. But yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, I like teams that have a personality. I know he's got a massive personality, Poch, and it would it would sort of send out a message to Daniel Levy as well, how stupid he was to let him go. But then again, the flip side is, what has he actually done? What has he actually done?
Poch, you know, he went to the Champions League final and he lost that final, obviously. And then now with
getting there was a phenomenal thing. But what did he do? Is straight after that? I don't know. Like a lot of people talk about what's the ambition after that. Was that his lack of ambition, or
I think it's the
Daniel
club's lack
Levy's?
of ambition because they didn't spend.
Must be
He
right.
wanted, yeah, he wanted the players.
And then they got rid of Vertonghen. That combination of Alderweireld and Vertonghen was solid. It was superb, right?
They got rid of the core of the team, the main core of the team, you know. And we always talk about when we build a team, we always have a solid core, whether it be it's 7 aside, 9 aside, 11 aside. We always have that central area of core players that are the mold that we want. And when he got rid of it, he said he needed more players to make sure that he can continue with this team, because he knows
what was important was in that statement that he made that time. I remember it well. That sounded like it was his decisions, not Daniel Levy's. Do you remember?
Yeah, maybe to let the players go, but he did wanted more players. That's what he said. And the club.
I know. I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying that he was the one responsible for letting those players go. Now, I don't know what you're like, but I think this is the Man United problem, is that would those central midfielders run through a wall for you? Definitely the team that Poch had would have done for him. Now, be very careful when you start splitting up that dynamic, because they all trust each other. And then you're going to bring in a so-called better player. Sometimes it don't fit, right? You know, you have to be very careful, right?
But do you think that that duo of McTominay and Fred in the middle for United works well?
Well, that's not the first choice, is it? It's McTominay and Pogba.
But they definitely, for me, I think they definitely need another midfielder to secure the midfield place. Where I think,
you need to have different option. Although saying that, when you think about Fred, you think about Fred being a hard-working defensive midfield player. But there, when he's had a little bit of freedom, he's gone out and won you the game. Maybe is it more tactical? I mean, like I said before, there's only small things. If you're given a bit more of a license, if we get onto the Man City game, for instance. It's the opposite. Why did he not play Fernandinho with, what's his name, Rodrigo? Or what's his name?
Rodrigo. Rodri.
Yeah. Why not? Why not two? The opposite way around. Man United keep playing with two, and then Fernandez, who knows where that guy's playing, and then it's not gelling, like you say. But why not try a player in the same player, but in a slightly different tactical setup?
Yeah, and I think you're right over here. You know, we as coaches, we see the type of players that we want in certain positions, and we look at the Man United 2 midfielders, and you know, for me, I look at Fred, the way he plays. You know, yeah, he's tenacious, but I also think he's not a defensive midfielder because he doesn't know his positioning well. He gets out of position very easily. Same as McTominay. You know, when you give them that, what you said was absolutely spot on, because when you give them the license to go up, they're doing better up front.
Because it's more their own game.
Yeah, and more than defensive. So that tells you a story already that they're not a proper defensive midfielder. But whereas
let me tell you a great quote. Just quickly.
Yeah.
When asked about why Kante was good, he said he wins. I can't remember. He said it. Mourinho or whoever it was said he wins the ball and he doesn't make a foul. And then same Makelele, right? Makelele and Kante, exactly the same player.
Mhm.
Win the ball, but don't make a foul. Fred
Yeah,
wins
Kante
the
is
ball,
just faster.
Xhaka wins the ball, but makes a foul.
Mhm.
Why? Because their mind is slightly different,
Mhm.
which is why they are defensive midfield players.
Mhm.
Fred and Xhaka making those fouls, it's because they're not exactly that in their right position
And we
for
saw
their
that
side.
from McTominay on on Saturday when United was playing. I think he got another yellow card. I mean, he's been having
Yeah.
some disciplinary issues. And that's because, like exactly what you said, his mind is not set to defend that way. But
He's
whereas you saw,
become more aggressive,
sorry.
but he's become more aggressive,
Mhm.
but there's a fine line between aggression and over enthusiastic to the point
Yeah.
you keep getting carded, right?
Exactly. And I think Matic, if you see the way Matic plays, he screens that back four. It doesn't gives away
Another
too much
great player.
out, you know,
Another great player.
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, he's old, he's slowed down, and that comes with the territory of your age, He's
Yeah.
touching on the mid-30s now. So um, but you can see that's a defensive mid player.
Well,
Fernandinho.
you don't get rid of that player. That's the kind of player to get a cover for him would cost you a lot of money.
Mhm.
Just keep him there. He knows the club. He knows what he's doing.
Mhm.
What was it? One of the first players that Jose Mourinho brought to the club. I mean, that tells you everything. He
Exactly.
screens, like you say. He's a brilliant screen. But
Yeah,
he hasn't got the legs anymore.
he
To be
doesn't
fair.
got the legs anymore. And another thing, what Matic does very well, he plays the ball forward. He gets the ball from the back, plays it forward, but knows when to play it forward and know when to play it sideways.
Yep.
And
Yep. Absolutely.
and if you see from Matic, from McTominay or Fred, they'll always play sideways. They'll always see what is the safest pass they can play because they don't want to make those mistakes. But if you're a defensive midfielder, your mindset is something different because you read the game entirely different, right? Knowing that, reading the situation. Okay, now I can play that ball forward. Now I can play that ball sideways, or maybe I can ping one to the wing for the winger to chase it. So
Yeah.
different. I mean,
That's my disappointment with Pogba, actually. When Pogba came in, when I saw him playing for France, he was so much more dynamic and he was so much further up the pitch. Not because they played him further up the pitch, but because he had more ambition.
Yeah, and he had Kante behind him.
And he had Kante behind him, fair play.
But I think having that defensive midfielder allows the number 8 to go forward, allows the number 10 to be gives them number 10 more freedom to go left or right to pick up the ball and try to create something. And that's what we saw in the Arsenal's game, going back to the Arsenal's game. Whereas Xhaka was going towards the left wing, where Kieran Tierney can choose to overlap Smith Rowe, or he can hold his position. But Xhaka was always there to support that. So that allows Odegaard to go to wherever the ball is. If it's on the right, he can go to the right, picks up the ball and plays. That's why Odegaard's game was so nice to watch on the weekend.
I'm going to make a big statement now. Most important thing about this top 4 race, this whole season, and generally, I think at the moment, is how good are your fullbacks? And if you can set up to cover the runs of your fullbacks, you're a successful team. If you can't, like Man United, you are not.
Yeah, and I think
Jack covered the left side. Who was covering the right side for Arsenal? But if you think about the fullbacks, it's really tough to think about who's got the best fullbacks. When Chelsea now are not winning, why not? Because Chilwell and what's his name, James, are both out.
Yeah.
Right. The 2 Liverpool fullbacks are absolutely phenomenal. Probably the best in the world. João Cancelo is definitely up there, but the second of the fullbacks is not, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Your number 10s in today's game, apart from like Salah's become like a Messi number 10. Your number 10s in the game now are your two fullbacks. But more if you're playing a 5 than if you're playing a 4, right?
Exactly. And I think Arsenal have one of the best system to cover their fullback. If you see on Saturday, like what I said,
Yeah, I agree.
Xhaka went to the left to cover. When Xhaka went to the left, Odegaard went to the right. So it's basically more like they're playing 4-1-2-3. So,
Well, that's how you dominate a game, and that's what Man City didn't do against Spurs. You know what Spurs are going to do if they're going to beat you. Do you know this stat? 26 shots on goal for Man City, 6 for Spurs. Spurs had 3 on target.
And 3 goals.
The 3 goals.
Exactly.
Isn't that crazy? But if you don't cover, especially when you've got such a counter-attacking team, but they've only got 2 players, haven't they? That are going to hurt you. Yeah. How hard can that be that you don't cover that breakdown? For me, it's bizarre. And also, if you watch, Harry Kane was just left alone when he went deep. In fairness, he hasn't been great before, has he?
I mean,
we don't leave him alone.
I mean, we as grassroots coaches, probably even the fans, can see this, right? But how in that elite level, a manager cannot read that game?
Games are about goals, aren't they? And then the City dominated, absolutely dominated. Everyone said Spurs defended really well and City this and that weren't that good. It was exactly the same way City play all the time. At 26, I mean, come on, that's decent, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The ball just didn't go in the net, right? The ball didn't go in the net, but Tottenham did nothing except for the only thing that they were ever set up to do. That's what annoys me. You know what I mean?
I agree. But like what you said, the cover, why didn't Pep Guardiola tell Rodri, don't push too high up, give that cover, give that extra cover. When Kane comes down, he did it in the first goal, so you should be aware. And then the second, and then the third, every time it's the same. And I have to give credit to Spurs, because the last goal that they scored, the build-up play to hold the nerves in the last few seconds and build the play from the back to the front.
I mean, it was a perfect day for Spurs, but don't read anything into that as well. They beat the champions, but did they look any better? They were awful.
No.
Do you know what the percentage of possession was in the first half? 90.
Wow.
For Man City. Total and utter control. So why not bring out Bernardo Silva and stick in Fernandinho? Like I say, the first goal came, so they had to chase the game. They get back to 2-2. Things didn't happen for them in a good way, right? They were unlucky in that sense. They were never in front, right?
I mean, when you read that, the day is not going in your way, wouldn't you, after scoring the penalty, it was already in extra time. Why don't you see cover? Why did you go gung-ho? Would you have
I understand when are they scared of Liverpool? I understand when a draw's not enough. But they're winning the league. It's unassailable. Spurs are not going to hurt you if you play deep. Put your foot off the gas, take the 1-1, give Liverpool 2 points. Because the difference between 4 and 3 is a big difference. You know what I mean? If they'd have got 1 point from that game, Liverpool got 1 game in hand, right? So theoretically now they can go 3 behind, right? 4 behind is huge. 3 behind, doable.
Yeah, because 3 behind is just 1 game.
But that's the point, right?
But if it's 4 behind,
and then you know what? The
that
goal
could be 2
difference
games.
isn't much different as well. Goal difference is very similar now, isn't it?
Yeah, very similar. I think it's only 4 goals. 4 goals difference.
Is it as many as that?
Yeah, just 4 between Liverpool and Man City. Just 4. Right. So I would say, like what you said, I would rather have the 4 points, because that will take them 2 games. But 3 is only 1 game.
Yeah.
You lose any of the upcoming games, you're done.
It's still Man City's to lose. Let's not get away from that.
Yeah.
And then the games that they've got are fairly easy games, aren't they?
Yeah, but they still have to play like United. You never know what United can do in Man City.
Yeah.
Those games have always been interesting. But again, talking about Spurs, they cannot go to Burnley and sit back like that, because I don't think so. It was an improved performance, but it was just bags of four, just shifting from left to right wherever the ball was. And Man City did not cross the ball well. They had a lot of crosses inside. I mean, De Bruyne was putting in crosses over crosses, knowing that there's nobody inside.
Well, that's the thing. That's why you don't put in crosses.
Exactly. So City didn't have a good day, but neither do I think Spurs deserve to win. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think so. I don't see Spurs as an improved team.
No.
And I think they will struggle against a team who's sitting that low of a block.
Yeah, I agree. The fact that Harry Kane came deep and scored two was quite amazing. The one where he got into the box, he had to run a lot to get in there. You haven't seen that from Harry Kane. And so the word around that club now is that he's amazing, the coach, the manager, for fitness. And Harry Kane did look good, didn't he? Look sharper.
He looks sharp. Son's looking somewhat sharper as well.
Excuse me, everyone's talking about how world-class Harry Kane was, what his game was. And I agree, that's the best I've ever seen Harry Kane. Bar none, bar no games. Perfect touch, perfect passing, and the two goals he took, amazing. But how about Son? Why does he never get any good press? That boy is phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, the timing of the run.
Make that pass to Kulusevski. How's he making that pass?
He could have taken it by himself, but I
would have thought that was a better option.
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
I thought it was a better option because as soon as he went one-on-one, I was thinking in my head, I was running. It's gonna score. I did not even.
He's on his left side, right?
Yeah, and I did not even see Kulusevski coming in. I did not even.
Kulusevski. We'll have to remember that name. Yeah. But you know that was only his second touch, right?
Yeah, and boom, it was in. I didn't even see it. But for me, I think better option would be for him to go by himself, because he could have cut into the right and then just shot.
What if he hadn't scored that? And by the way, it was through his legs. So he could have easily missed it.
Yeah.
Would people not have been saying, what are you doing? Just put it away, right?
It could have.
It was one of those days.
Yeah, but it's the timing of the run. It's the timing of the run. Kane and Son working very well together, knowing Kane gave it in the first touch with his back to goal, knowing that Son would be there. And that's a connection.
Jav, is that new?
No, it's not new,
Is that new? Pep, wake up. Right?
Yeah, but but Son is not talked talked more enough about his performance. I think Son looks sharper as well.
He is amazing. It's amazing. The timing of the run is in many ways harder than what Harry Kane did with the pass.
Absolutely.
But the passes were like on a sixpence, right? But just getting on a half turn, using your strength and playing the ball. But the timing of the run, wow, right? And he does it every week, by the way.
He does it. He definitely does. And that's why I think for me, Son have to go to a different club. I think his level is way too higher up there than just sitting with Spurs.
Well, if they ain't going to let Harry go, they ain't going to let him go, are they?
I bet so. And other teams are also winning, like
Wolves again. Our Wolves,
yeah, against.
We have not been wrong about Wolves. They had one blemish, but yeah, they're doing well. Bruno Lage has made such a difference to them. Like, I'm going to have to say, Espirito Santo really put that team together. That the start of the Wolves project, right? But that guy's come in and he's got no CV at all. He's not a big personality like Bruno was, right? I think he worked under that Portuguese coach was Jose Carvalho or something, whatever his name is, at Chef Wednesday and Swansea, I think, as an assistant coach. That's it. That's all he's done. And now the way that team are playing football, we got to play them, by the way, Thursday night, right?
Yeah. But
you know what? That takes on far more significance than ever playing that fixture before, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's a 6-pointer. That is a real 6-pointer.
I will. That is a 6-pointer because after they lost to us, they have won all their games.
No, didn't they lose one more? Didn't they just lose one?
No. So they lost to us. They lost to us, and then they went on to beat Spurs. They went on to beat Leicester. So
was there not one in between? You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me quickly check that. Let's see.
But anyway, it'll be 0-0, so let's not even talk about it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 0-0.
It'll be 0-0, I'm telling you.
We will see. We'll see. Where are
that's another bet you're going to lose to me. It will be 0-0.
Let me just quickly check.
What, you're checking my odds?
No, I'm not checking your odds. Jeez. Just trying to check Wolves.
By the way, it's freezing outside. I would put you to the window so you can see the snow. I've actually made a snowman this afternoon.
Really? Is it that cold?
It's bloody freezing.
So yeah, after us, they didn't. They only played against Spurs and Leicester. So they won Spurs 2-0, and they won 2-1 against Leicester.
There you go. So our predictions were excellent about Wolves the other day, right?
And also, before our game, they played against Southampton. They won 3-1 against Southampton. Southampton are a good team as well. And then they played Brentford. They won 2-1 against Brentford before playing us. And then they lost to us, and then they won against Spurs and Leicester.
Yeah, they were on a roll. I knew they were on a roll, 6-game roll or something like that, right? And then we stopped that, but they've come straight back. Leicester is another one we need to talk about. My God, what, you want to get rid of Brendan Rodgers? Are you kidding me? Are you going to get better than Brendan Rodgers? You're Leicester City.
Yeah, exactly.
Brendan Rodgers is amazing. I'm sorry to say this, but he's exactly an Arsenal manager. I said this long time ago. He plays football. That guy plays football.
Yeah.
He won't next season because Tielemans is leaving the United.
Yeah, we never know. We never know. Maybe Tielemans would be coming to Arsenal.
Could be, right? He needs to be in a football team, a football playing team.
Yeah, he needs to be, because he's a brilliant player. If you say number 8, he's one of the best number 8, I would say, for me. I would love to Arsenal.
They've not had good run-ins, Leicester, right? The last couple of seasons they've just dropped off at the end.
Yeah.
This season they've been abominable, but only because he's just lost everyone, hasn't he? Like just so many injuries.
Yeah.
So he can be forgiven it for one season, for goodness sake, right?
Yeah. But people are on his back. With that Leicester side, he's doing brilliant for me.
He is. He's brought in that Daka as well. He wanted to not replace, but just in case Vardy's not available.
But very similar player.
Well. Yeah, he's doing well. Iacho, or whatever the hell his name is again, like we were talking about, if you're in the right system, you can look good. If you're not, you can look average. He's looked really average recently.
Because he's a player not to run in behind. He's like a Harry Kane. And Brendan Rodgers' system, I don't think so, suits him to go run in behind. Because you can see Brendan Rodgers.
Vardy. I think got Vardy, so it's different. They
Mm,
had an understanding. He came deeper, right? You had runners from midfield, Tillemans and what's his name, Madison.
Madison.
Um,
You
all the
had
good
Barnes.
stuff straight up.
You have Barnes as well. Barnes is a brilliant player running behind the.
From wide. Barnes is wide, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But what is his name? Ndidi, centre midfielder, has been out for a
yeah,
large chunk.
yeah. Also, the
Um,
other defender, the centre back, Fafana, Leslie
yeah,
Fafana.
yeah. He came back though, didn't he?
He came back, but he
Is he
was
not?
out for a very long time as well.
Right.
So
Yeah, just unlucky, poor Brendan. You know, do we want him at Arsenal? Of course, it would be nice. Not right now. I'm quite happy right now, aren't you?
I'm quite happy right now. I would not, for me, although
I
many
wouldn't
people,
change now. I
yeah,
wouldn't change now.
because I can see what they're building. There's, we as coaches, we always know it takes time to build something beautiful. Most of our teams that we have built over the years, we never win anything in the first 1 year or 2 year. I mean, we won't do bad, we won't be on the bottom, but we always needed that time to gel those players together, to make them understand the system, to know one another, where they need to run, where they need to move, who's covering what, who's running in behind, who's coming in for the ball, who's coming short.
The
Sometimes,
important thing is you have to have a plan, and he's definitely got a plan. Whether he's good enough personality-wise, I don't know. But you're right, he's got the plan.
yeah.
And then it did take time, and now the fruits of his labor are not yet for all to see, but they're not far off.
But I think his signings are also very interesting because we thought Aaron Ramsdale, who the hell is he, coming into goalkeeping?
And too much money.
Yeah, and for that much money, but he's been a brilliant signing for us over the season now. Tomiyasu, we never heard of him. Ben White, yes, but we thought 50 million was just too much for him. And
Yeah,
we saw Lokanga, young, but
I like Sammy. He's good.
but you can see there's a potential in him. And then you can see
Yeah,
Tavares on the left back, cover for
yeah.
whenever he played okay. So you can see that there's a system that is building, around the youth. Now this summer, what we want to see from him is bring in some experience, like Thomas Partey. Get rid of Xhaka, maybe. Bring in a proper number 8.
You're always going on about Shaka. Leave him alone. He's all right. Yeah, but like you say, it starts from the back. You build that back up. You can see we're goal shy. We're always going to be goal shy. After we couldn't figure out the Aubameyang thing, that hasn't changed yet.
No.
But do we now bring in a striker? I don't think we bring in a striker, right? I don't know. Maybe this is as good as it gets for Arteta.
Well, you never know, but I think if he brings in, because the type of striker he's looking at, like this guy from Fiorentina, Vlahovic, right? He, they did try to bring in a striker because they know the problem is going to be goal scoring, but unfortunately he went to Juventus. So now in the summer you have to see what type of striker they're going to bring in, what type of midfielder they're going to bring in, and I think the team is almost at the end. The puzzle is almost finished, but they're still working.
I don't think so. If you tell me to get into top 4, solidly into top 4, maybe. But we are 36 points or something off of the
first
top
position. Yeah,
we're nowhere near. We have to. Yeah, I know what you mean. Step at a time, right?
Yes, exactly. I don't think that we will be winning the league anytime in the next 3 years, but this is a good start.
Did you say our lifetime?
You never know. You never know. Maybe I'll have a couple of more years than you.
Yes, I hope so.
But you never know. If this team stays together without anybody leaving, I think in 3 years' time, maybe not win the title, but at least we can be up there and challenging.
Let me tell you, this Premiership has got three of the best, probably top 5 teams in the world at this time. This is literally like, let's say Suarez or Salah or something, or Bale, constantly being like Iniesta as well. I have to put in there, never winning the Ballon d'Or because you will never get it again. But Ronaldo and Messi at the same time being this good, I feel sorry for the third best guy in the world because he's never going to win anything, right?
Exactly.
But this is the same in the Premiership now, where, and then you've got Chelsea as well that probably are going to be up there. Everyone apart from us said Chelsea would win it this year. I never ever said Chelsea would win it. The top 2 teams are just in a league of their own. So all you've got to play for really is the scraps, the 3rd and 4th place, and maybe Europa League, which is okay. There's like, I've always said this, about 4 or 5 different leagues within one league in England, isn't there? You know, and then this was the only good comment I thought about somebody responding to, I think it's Jamie Carragher, said to people that were moaning about Newcastle. Newcastle stayed in the league for a few seasons. Benitez did a good job, and even Steve Bruce, even though he was hated, did okay. He said, what do you want Newcastle to do? Because you think about it, going up to that next league, which would be, let's go through the leagues. There's relegation, there's avoiding relegation, there's mid-table, there's Europe, top 4, and then winning the league. It's crazy. And each one of those different places, what's that worth, Jav? How much investment? 50 million? If you're mid-table, like probably Bielsa could do for Leeds for a number of seasons, take it. Unless you get money coming in from elsewhere, it becomes so big you can genuinely start to put in like a new stadium, new this, new that. But be wishful, you know, be careful what you wish for. If you're staying in the Premiership for a lot of these sides, let that be your goal, because that ain't bad. Winning the league, maybe we just forget about it until Klopp and Guardiola hang up their boots, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's also upcoming managers who can challenge, but it's about who's going to spend right. It's not about who's going to spend big, but who's going to spend right. Because if you look at Klopp, he didn't spend big. He spent right. Bringing in,
and all these players are worth more money than he bought them for. So that's what you want, right?
Exactly. Like Sadio Mane, Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk. I think with Van Dijk, he spent a little bit money, but other players are like 30 million, 20 million, 40 million.
Well, this is the thing. He bought 2 players big, and then rather than buying 6 or 7 players, he got those 2 that were the pieces in the jigsaw. Like you think when Virgil wasn't playing, you know what the percentage is? Sorry, by the way, when Virgil plays and when Virgil doesn't play, I'm a stats man tonight.
Oh yeah,
0.5 or 0.8, I can't remember when he plays. Win ratio 76 when he wins. When he plays, winning, and then when he doesn't play, 52%. 52% is mid-table. Those big signings, like you say, don't spend, but spend correctly. Those 2 were the difference, and everything else fits into place. The next thing he's done, and we haven't even mentioned him, I need to. Remember I said about if you get this wrong, like with the forward coming in, the Mane situation, I could be wrong. They got that Diaz. He looked brilliant the week before. What a game on Saturday.
He's looking sharp. He hit the ground running. He has hit the ground running, I can tell you that. And those
again, he didn't buy many, but he's bought one really good one.
Yeah. And that's what teams need to start thinking, that it's not about how much you spend. You know, like the other day we were talking about United spending 1 billion, 1 billion for 10 years. What have they built?
I know, but that's the difference, isn't it? Like I said before, if you've got a project, if you've got a clear philosophy,
Mhm.
you bring in players to fit that philosophy.
Mm.
When you're desperate, you go out and buy anyone.
Yeah.
And of course, Man United have got the money, so they can do it. And then you get this tapestry, this haphazard kind of odd-looking Man United. There is no form there, is there? There's no.
There's no
You can't
structure. Yeah.
see the way Man United play.
Mhm.
There isn't one. Liverpool, it's a Liverpool team. You know, when managers of the past used to move, you would say, "Oh yeah, that's that guy's team."
Mm-hmm.
Like when you see my kids play, that's a Ed Fordham team, right?
Mm.
I play a certain way. I know what I want to do,
Yep.
and I get the players to play in the way that I want. This is on a completely different scale, of course, but it ain't different. You need to have a clear philosophy. When you don't, you spend. You
Mm.
spend recklessly, and then what do? You've got so many brilliant players there. Who do you play? And then if you don't play someone, but you bought me for this much money, I need to be playing.
Mm.
And they're quite right. Like how
Mm.
much they spent, how much they gave Dortmund for what's his name on the left hand side?
Jadon Sancho.
Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho
75
would have
million.
started. How much?
75 million.
75 million. And for a kind of a kid.
Mm.
So if you're going to pay that much money, are you not going to put him in your team? Do you even know where he's going to play? I guess it's a joke. It's a total joke, right?
Mm. And that's what I think with Arsenal. That's what I like. The project that they're building. I can see that they're not going out and spending recklessly, but they're spending on positions, players type, like what we talked about the other time. They're looking at players who can use both foot. You can see there's a clear philosophy of what type of players they want. And then in the January, they looked for a specific striker. They couldn't get it. They didn't buy anyone else.
What are they going to do with Pepe?
I think Pepe will come into the team, or they will sell him in the summer.
Where is Xhaka going to come off the side when he gets stronger? What do you think?
I think
Saka, not Xhaka, sorry.
You mean Saka? I think Saka will stay there. I think Pepe will move into Pepe can move into the left hand side, and he can. Think? Yeah, I think Pepe can move into the left hand side, and Martinelli can go up as a striker.
Big calls from Javid tonight. You reckon?
I think so. I think Martinelli can play as a striker with the type of player he is. I don't know whether he's going to be prolific, but for me, I think Martinelli can be a striker.
You want him on the ball and you want him more central. He's a little bit too one-sided, isn't he, though?
Mm-hmm. But
he's only got one foot.
Martinelli, as a defender, I don't want those type of players on me because it's constantly on you when they don't have the ball. You know, you try to play out from the back. The pressure is there. The hold-up play is there. The technique is there. So you don't want to, you know, sometimes they run at you at speed. You don't know how to position yourself sometimes. By the time you position yourself, they're gone already. So those type of players, I think, are hard to play against. So that's why I think, you know, he has that.
I agree. But again, like I say, it's nowhere near finished because coming out the back, we come out too slow, so teams can get into a low block with us too easily. So you're right. Even for Pepe needs it to be quick. He can't function when it's only about we play just in and around the edge of the box. He's not that type of player. Yeah. Saka is, but much better. Martinelli can a little bit, but both of them, they're not two-footed. I don't think.
They're both footed because I've seen Saka crossing with the right, you know, cutting with the left. I've seen Saka doing that. Martinelli, not so much. I haven't seen much of his, you know, left foot and
I've seen too much of his left foot.
No, but yeah, but you're right. You know, we did build up things very slowly, but
too slow. But what we did do is like the idea that, like I said, comes deeper. That gives you the runners because the only thing with putting Martinelli on is that then you have to play Smith Rowe in midfield, right? Which he does anyway a little bit. So when Lacazette drops, this was, basically what Spurs did better on Saturday, right? Then you've got the runners, but you've got to attack much faster to have those runners going in. So I don't think he's sure still. Like, you can't hang about on the edge of the box like Saka does for me too often, like Martinelli does. You got to come and get on the ball and run at them. So when you come deep and get on the ball, actually, this is a basic thing in coaching. You keep pressing teams. When they go backwards, you go forwards, right? So that will actually bring teams up if he comes and he gets on it and he does a bit more, taking the player on. But every time if you notice when he gets it, that's the trouble with a player that plays on his wrong foot coming inside. Ain't any space in there.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And
You
that's
know what I mean? I'd like him to go past the player on the outside.
Because that's why I thought Pepe would do so well there, because he can pick up the ball and run at players, and he's left-footed. If he plays on the left-hand side, he can come deep, pick up the ball and run at players, where then teams, it's either they come and close him down, or if they don't close him down, you're going to give him space and he's going to come in. So
yeah, but then you're negating Tierney. You're negating Tierney, which is a big part of his plan, right?
Yes, but
the overlapping Tierney.
Yes, Kieran Tierney can still overlap. It doesn't have to be restricted. But again, like what we saw on Saturday, I think they played much faster. The intensity, the way they moved, the way they won the ball backs, I think there was much more urgency on the ball for Arsenal on Saturday than any other games I saw.
I agree, but I'm still going to come back to the fullback. Sorry about that, because if you look at Salah and Mane, right, when they pick up the ball, they can hold on to it. They're almost like a target man, especially Mane, right? When he gets on the ball, you're not muscling him off that ball.
No.
Then you've got time for the fullback to overlap, right? When Xhaka and Martinelli are too weak to hold on to the ball at the moment, so you haven't got the time for the fullbacks to go overlap. You know what I mean?
But I think
I don't know. They're young, so they're going to get better.
Yeah.
But it's just how I see it. We're a long way from being a finished article.
Yeah, definitely. But I can see the puzzles are closing up slowly. That's why I said it's going to take another 3 years maybe to challenge for those top 3 spots. Maybe you never know. But you can also, like what he did on Saturday, he pushed the fullbacks a little bit more higher, a little bit more closer to the winger, so that they can overlap much more easier. And this is what Cedric did very well. He overlapped so many times because he was more closer to Saka.
Yeah, because we had so much more control of the game. I mean, come on, it is Brentford, right?
Yeah. But this is what we
didn't have a tangible threat. You know, you don't mind to be a bit more expansive when you're not going to get hit, right, on the break.
Yeah.
I think that was. I think our predictions weren't so bad. I think the ones that we didn't get quite right. A few of those are one-offs. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other day, Man City would have won that game comfortably.
Absolutely. All right, Ed, it's time to wrap up the show. Thank you.
Yeah, we're too long as usual, aren't we?
Yeah, we got a bit too long again, but hope everyone enjoyed the show. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next episode. Cheers.
Thank you. See ya. Bye.
Bye.